Welcome, episode 16 of So You Want to Be a Star in the Music Business. Today's topic, we're discussing, I guess we'll call our form of an electronic press kit. But just to build a little background, every artist or performing artist, producer, musician, each one of you guys will get the chance where you'll have a live appearance opportunity. So you'll be in a situation where the press is going to, well, the promoter, I should say, the person that's giving you the opportunity to perform live or be on television is going to want to basically sell some tickets or get some eyes watching that program. So they're going to need to have some information about you to give to the press and give the press a reason to write something about you that's interesting, that's going to move more papers.
Keyword is that's interesting, right? Because
Right.
there are a lot of information about you, but nobody really cares that you buy your clothes at the Gap.
So we're going to change a little bit of the perception of what people typically think about press kits. Because number one, since the internet has changed everything in social media, I mean, everybody can have 5 or 6 or 7 different websites. So what we're discussing is not what's going to be on your website, because your website is going to tie in everything, every social media market, every song that you want to put up there to have downloaded or people listen to. It's going to basically have everything. So what we're discussing is the meat and potatoes and the foundation of what to give to the press. And when we think press kit, we're talking about the actual press, bloggers, writers, people that are doing articles. So,
Right. Even if you're playing a small town in Kalamazoo, Michigan, it may be your hometown. The point is somebody needs to know something about you, and chances are they don't. Think in terms of being the reporter. The reporter is hired, is told by the editor, okay, there's going to be a concert at such and such club on Saturday night. We want to put a little something in there, get something interesting, do it in less than an hour. That's the way they work. Also, remember, a newspaper, a blogger, a magazine, they're trying to sell copies.
mm-hmm.
They want viewers. If you have nothing interesting to say, then they have nothing interesting to write. And your job is to help them make you sound interesting enough that someone who doesn't know who you are wants to read the article. So, in principle, there are only a couple of things you need to have ready, and you need to have them ready immediately upon request. Very often a reporter will say, I have a deadline by the end of tonight or tomorrow at noon. Can you get me, most important thing in the world,
Bio.
Photos. Nobody cares about photos. Make it into newspapers and the internet much more than do articles. So you absolutely want a photo, which means it better look good. It needs to be in color. It needs to be high res. You need to have one vertical and one horizontal because they're going to crop them anyway. But different articles and places need different size photos. So give them at least one of each. You do not need more than one of each. If you've got a couple more, great. Don't send them 4 or 5 photos. That means somebody there is going to have to waste time deciding which one to use. Send them 2 or 3 at the most, and make sure they're good. Second, bio. Jumping the gun, bio. Here's the trick. If you were born in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and that's your concert, that's interesting. So since you have the ability on a computer to change your bio, make sure for Kalamazoo it says, I was born in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Always put the most interesting thing about you in the first paragraph. You can always go back and put it in date order later. Then I went to such and such high school, and then I went to college. If that's not interesting, leave it out.
Mm-hmm.
If you played Peter Pan in your high school musical, personally, not interested. Unless the name of your group is Peter Pan, and that's how you came up with the name. Keep it short. No one needs to know what you did your entire life. Remember, there is a limited amount of space in blogs, in magazines, and in newspapers. They don't have a lot of time to read your material. You have to edit for them. Give them no more than 3 paragraphs and short paragraphs if you can, and make it the most important stuff. Make it about your music. Make it about anything interesting in your life. If you are an avid motorcycle rider, 1 sentence, put it in there, because you never know if the reporter is also an avid motorcycle writer, and that may be interesting to the reporter. There's one more step to this.
Kind of two more, but
okay.
The other one is we mentioned the bio, we mentioned the high resolution photos, also press release. So this is something most people probably never thought about, but
right. Think of it this way. Okay, let's go to the big papers. Okay, New York Times. New York Times has information coming onto their computers by the hundreds every day. Everybody thinks they're important and the New York Times should write about them. So if you are the editor and you're making the decision, the first thing you do is you decide who do you trust to give you information that you actually might be interested in. You trust professionals. Mm-hmm. A professional press agent knows the format, the way a press release ought to look to capture the attention of an important reporter or blogger. So they will ignore, in the old days when there were faxes, they would have a pile, at least the reporters at the New York Times would tell me, they'd have a pile like this on their desk every morning, and they would have their assistant go through and throw out anything that wasn't in the correct format of how it was written, because
like a resume.
Right, they didn't have time to look at the rest. Then there is a heading on it. There is, I guess, what you'd call in a newspaper, there's your headline. The headline has got to have the most important, interesting information right there. You've got to get their attention. If you just write, the group Peter Pan plays in Kalamazoo, ain't going to make it at the New York Times. So instead you might go, Elton John plans to visit Peter Pan playing in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Well, all of a sudden you got their attention. Obviously you don't want to lie, but you look for the most important thing, put it in the headline, and again, if the New York Times or anyone else only wants to give you 3 sentences, put it in the first paragraph so they don't have to read anything else. Tell them where it is, when it is, why people should come see you, and that's it. Start with that. Then you can add a lot of other stuff after it, and they'll either ignore it, or if they're writing a big article, they'll have it. So in a sense, you are writing the article for them. If you are in a local town, I guarantee you 90%, not 75, 90% of the time, they will just print the article you wrote as a press release. They will put it right in the newspaper. They do not have time to write. There are many people who are hired to do the obituaries, the local sports stories, any music group coming in. They are 100 things one person is doing. If you hand them a well-written article, all they have to do is take it and put it in the newspaper with your picture. That's what you are providing with. That's your purpose. Your e-press kit, and most important word about the E, when somebody calls you or writes you, or the person who's promoting the gig says, I need this information now, you need to go to your computer, go email, here's an attachment, here's another attachment, go. You're done. They got it. You don't have to think about it. Prepare this up front. If you have only those 3 things, you've done your job for the press. It's not about your fans. It's for the press.
Don't forget about your contact information, though.
Everything. Everything must have your contact or your manager's contact or your press agent's contact or whoever is doing it. And please, the place where you're playing, put the information in there.
Right.
You know, it happens to me all the time. I look up, say, hey, I'm kind of interested in seeing this group. They're playing at, I don't know where that club is in Brooklyn. Where is it? No information. Well, you know what? I don't have time to Google. I'll go someplace I know where it is. It's that simple. So make sure you have it there. All right? That's enough on that. What you wanted to add something?
No, that was it.
Okay. Like I said, website's a whole different story. Obviously, you should have an MP3 of your best song in case the reporter says, I've never heard your stuff. Can you send me something? Then have it available, but it doesn't have to be part of your press kit. It can just be something you have.
Same thing for videos, too. If you have a link to a video, make sure it's a quality video. Don't send any garbage videos.
Yeah. All right.
I'm
sorry.
But that's it.
That's a great last note.
That's it.
All right. See you next time.
And just before we go, Kevin Curtin, Mitch Weiss, check us out, www.MWEntGroup.com.
And @_MWEG for Twitter. Take it easy.
Until next time.